Hey guys, SmashCast here. I'm AG and
PJ.
And today we're going to be talking about what Namco is going to be doing for Smash Brothers. Now, pretty much what we're going to be talking about is, if you didn't see our last Soul Calibur vid, go check that out. We're going to pretty much recap that on what Soul Calibur means and what they're going to do for Smash Bros. And then we're going to talk about what playable characters Namco might bring, then talk about the assist trophies and stuff, the items and stages, and stories, and then our opinions on everything. And by the way guys, if you have any extra opinions that we haven't pointed out, we definitely like to hear them, so say them in the comments down below. So now PJ's going to start off with the playable characters.
So basically there's a high chance of Pac-Man being announced at E3, considering Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures and Namco obviously co-developing the game. Yeah, and there might be a Soul Calibur character, but I don't want a Soul Calibur character. There's so many. There's not really a main character. Like for example, Street Fighter, it would be Ryu or Ken. Those are like the two main people, and basically as far as I know, Soul Calibur doesn't really have one of those main characters.
So yeah, we definitely end up seeing Pac-Man because everyone wants to really see him, and like PJ said, just Bandai Namco talking about developing Smash Brothers, and since they're going to be having Pac-Man being their biggest and well-known character, so we'd have like the all the big well-known characters. We'd have Mega Man, Mario, Sonic, and Pac-Man, and on top of everything, we kind of already have this assured because how Mega Man was released last year at E3, Pac-Man releasing this year at E3, and Pac-Man Ghostly Adventures makes him a really high chance to get in the game through those two. And also, in our interview, Sakurai was interviewed by IGN, and they were pretty much just talking about how Namco is developing Smash Brothers, and of course, he said that there's not going to be just because they're co-developing Smash Brothers, it doesn't mean that they're going to have like a big preference in third-party characters. So, but they kind of said that there's going to be like few characters, but they kind of didn't say that there wasn't going to be any. So, we're probably going to see very little, maybe just like not like a giant roster like people might think. And he said that actually nearing the end of the interview, Sakurai actually asked the IGN interviewer a question on which character he would like to see in Smash from Namco Bandai, and then he ended up saying that he wanted the arcade classic Pac-Man. And then for quite a long time at the end of the interview, they kind of just talked about what the final Smash could be, what possible moves, and then how he'd turn everything into blue, and then he eats them, and how he'd be really overpowered and stuff. And since Sakurai's really taking this into consideration, so with all those, I think Pac-Man's gonna be a really big chance. Now, let's talk a little bit about what Soul Calibur means for for Final Destination before we start talking about the playable character of Soul Calibur. So pretty much in Final Destination, there's the stages. If you put them together, if you flip them and then have the platform touch another platform of Final Destination, it makes a sword that's one's blue and the other one's being red. So it's just like the Soul Calibur and the Soul Edge. Then PJ's gonna say the rest of them.
So basically, for the other references, as you would know if you saw the Soul Calibur video yesterday, it would be the color of the logo. For the 3DS it's red, and for the Wii U is blue, matching the sword colors. And also the newcomer opening, where it has a sword slash at the beginning and it has the flame then zooming in when the trailer starts.
Yeah, and like PJ said, the color differences, because the Xbox 360 version had blue, and then PS3 had red. So just kind of saying how the 3DS and the the 3DS had the PS3 colors, and then the Wii U had the Xbox 360 one or whatever. So yeah, a lot of the similarities there. And also, if you actually kind of twist the top, we can't really see the top-down perspective of the Final Destination, but from the side, it kind of does look like one of the swords from Soul Calibur on the platform. And also, going back to playable characters, Link showed up in Soul Calibur 2, 3, and 4, so we pretty much got to see him show up then. And of course, being a Nintendo character, probably was a hard thing to get him in, so probably the fact that Nintendo and Namco are making this, they're probably going to get maybe a possible Soul Calibur character in. Now, like PJ said, that there isn't like really a main character, but there could be like maybe a fan favorite character that's gonna maybe end up being in Smash Brothers. And then more on the topic of playable characters, another one where we're gonna see maybe like a lot from their different franchises. So Namco's big franchises, Pac-Man, so we see Pac-Man. Soul Calibur, so we see Soul Calibur. Then we're going to see a Tekken character, because that's also a big franchise. And the last one would be Tails, because they have a really big following in the Tails series. So we're gonna start off with the Tekken here. So what do you think about Tekken?
Tekken, I have the same argument for Soul Calibur. Now, I haven't played these games, so I don't know if there's a main character. Like, for example, in this game, it's usually known for Mario, right? And Street Fighter would be Ryu and Ken. Now, I don't know the main characters for Tekken or Soul Calibur, so I don't really think that there would be a Tekken character. I think the only character we're gonna see in Smash 4 from Namco is Pac-Man, and that doesn't count assist trophies and other stuff like items.
For me, Tekken, much like the Soul Calibur, which is happening a lot with Namco Bandai and Nintendo, there was another appearance with the Wii U version getting the costumes for a lot of the Nintendo characters being Link, Mario, and Metroid, and there was pretty much a lot of their major franchises had all like the characters you could play as costumes. There was also the mushrooms, like the poison mushroom, and then the and by the way, this is Tekken Tag Tournament 2 for the Wii U, and things like that. So the mushroom battle was exclusive to the system, and things like that. It was just like Soul Calibur, they have special royalties, so we could end up seeing like these characters, but Sakurai did say that we're gonna not see a lot of them, so maybe see maybe 2 at most. I'm kind of maybe seeing 2. That's what I think. Then their next big franchise is the Tales series. So more specifically, what we'll stick to is Tales of Symphonia, because Tales of Symphonia is like one of the biggest. And actually, back in 2013, there's the director for the Tales of Symphonia series, and he said that he'd love one of his characters to be in Smash Brothers, because he adores the series, and he also does work at Namco Bandai, so we could definitely see one of his characters show up from Tales of Symphonia. So most likely being the main character, Lloyd Irving. Now, what do you think about this?
Lloyd Irving, I think, would be a really cool addition to Smash. Now, I don't know if we have space for him, unfortunately. So probably the newcomers, Pac-Man, Mies, and Palutena, possibly. Now, yeah, Lloyd Irving would be awesome, but I don't think we really have space for him, considering from my predictions, we still have 9 more veterans to be in the game.
Yeah, for me, there's a lot of sword characters in Smash, but he'd be a lot different because he has this elemental sword, and he's gonna get a lot of those different things, and he'd be quite different because he'd have the different elements, and then have like all the final Smash would be completely different than all the other sword characters. And I think that he would definitely have some diversity compared to the other characters with swords. And also, I think that's in the Tekken, for me at least, my ideas for Namco characters would be, of course, Pac-Man. Then these next characters are, of course, have a less amount of chance. So it would be a Soul Calibur character, and then a Tekken, the Tekken guy with the spiky hair. I can't remember his name, but just pretty much any main character from Tekken, and then Lloyd Irving. So that would be for me Namco Bandai characters that could show up, but I have a feeling that maybe only see the Tekken characters and Soul Calibur and Pac-Man. I think that Lloyd Irving might just not make it into this one, but hopefully they all do. Then one last thing before we wrap up the playable characters is that of course Pac-Man being kind of confirmed because of Galaga assist trophy, so confirming the retroness of Pac-Man. But also the people who are working in Namco Bandai's building for Smash Brothers is the Tetsuya Atsuduska. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce these very well. Who is the producer and director of Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme V's, not a very well-known series. But then there's Yoshita Hichuchi, the producer and director of the Tales series, so kind of confirming Lloyd. And then we see the art and director and sound director of the Soul Calibur series, and then the main development staff is actually mainly all from Tekken. So it's going to be quite a lot like Tekken, but the 3D version. So of course these guys developing the game would definitely be, their characters could show up.
Yeah, probably they could show up. And honestly, the two Namco people that I would want would be Pac-Man and Lloyd Irving, sorry. And I was only expecting 2 third-party characters in this game, meaning Mega Man and Pac-Man, but there might be 3. So yeah, adding on Lloyd Irving.
Yeah, and now we're going to move on to the assist trophies. So now assist trophies, we've seen the Galaga assist trophy, we've seen the flag game, which I have no idea what it's called, and we've seen those in the bunch of screenshots that GameXplain released after the SSB4 Direct back in April. And of course these are quite retro games. Their assist trophies are very pixelated, of course, but they are quite interesting. We haven't seen a video for them, only just the pictures. But since there's assist trophies and since Namco's developing it, obviously we're gonna see a lot more than just regular assist trophies.
Yeah, definitely, I agree.
Now I don't know if we'll see other assist trophies, because for each character there's usually a playable character from a third party. There usually tends to be one assist trophy from that franchise. So like Sonic had Shadow, and then like Snake had the Fox, Metal Fox or something like that, and then the Mega Man has Electabuzz or something, Electaman, and then this, yeah, Electaman, and then this Pac-Man could definitely be one of his like friends or something. But pretty much because there's assist trophies from them, it's gonna be playable characters. Now, do you think we're gonna see more assist trophies from Namco?
Probably not, to be honest. Yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I think that I'm pretty sure we did get a few like Drill Dozer, I think that are Namco, and we could end up seeing Drill Dozer. I think, I'm not sure if he returns, as she returns, but they also had another character that their game was actually released to be for the Virtual Boy of Game Boy for the Wii U, Drill Dozer, and also Clona, which was leaked in Australia, being on their rating board for the game. So they're supposed to come to the Game Boy Virtual Console kind of thing. So for that reason, we could maybe see a Clona assist trophy, possibly.
Maybe, but we haven't really seen anything from Clona for a really long time. Back in the days of the Wii, because I remember buying that game. Yeah, we probably won't see Clona. Kind of a side series, in my opinion. Not like as big as Pac-Man or Tails.
Now, moving on to the stages now, we talked a little bit about Soul Calibur and how the Soul Calibur is affecting the Final Destination and the entirety of the game, like the logos and things, which I have to say, this has been the most coolest logo for any Smash Bros game, but has to be the worst title of any Smash Bros game, for sure. It should have been Smash Bros Universe, for sure, don't you think?
Definitely. And an idea I kind of had when we first started up this channel, back in August of 2013. I can't believe it's been that long. We thought it was Smash Bros Universe, and my idea was bringing back every single character from the old Smash Bros games that didn't make it. For example, Mewtwo, stuff like that, Roy, redesigning them to be HD in current gen, and making a game about that. But this is way better. We should expect Mewtwo pretty soon at E3, possibly. So yeah.
Yep. For stages, I think that we could possibly see a few more stages from Namco, since we do think Pac-Man has a big chance of returning, so definitely like a stage that would reflect Pac-Man the Ghostly Adventures. I'm pretty sure that even if there isn't a character for it, I'm almost 100% sure we're going to get at least one Tekken stage, and if not, a Soul Calibur stage, which Final Destination, this could count as a Soul Calibur stage. So yeah, do you think we'll see any other Namco?
I don't really think so, to be honest. It's kind of weird how Namco develops this game. Final Destination looks way different in this game than from Brawl, and it just happens to be the Soul Calibur colors. So I think that's kind of interesting. So yeah.
Also, another thing to talk about these stages is that the fact that this version has like a For Glory mode in the Final Destination stage, that there's an actual mode that every single stage has a Final Destination part with no platforms. It kind of says that since Tekken people are developing, the majority of the team is developing this Smash Bros, it's probably taking a lot of inspiration from that, because Tekken doesn't have like any of these platforms and stuff. So it would definitely be a lot like Tekken in that form, except just where you can run forwards and backwards. So yeah, I think they're drawing a lot of inspiration for Tekken, and that's why I think a Tekken stage would definitely return.
Yeah, probably. And we obviously can see that stages hint characters. Like, for example, if you remember in the Smash Bros. Direct, everyone, there was a stage called Find Me. That kind of hints a lot of stuff. And after the speculation, well, not the speculation, but the knowledge of Sakurai saying there's a customizable character in the game.
Yeah, which is going to be transferred from the 3DS to the Wii U, apparently. So that's going to make people buy both versions of the game. But also another thing that I want to note, speaking about custom characters, the reason that Mii is definitely coming is that Soul Calibur had, I think it was Soul Calibur 4 introduced character customization creation, and you can create your own Soul Calibur characters, and for that reason I think that Miis are definitely going to come out, but we could possibly see actual costumes, kind of like in Tekken Tag Tournament 2 for the Wii U. We're going to see like maybe like a Mario hat or something, and then maybe like Blaster from Samus or something, and like for a ton of the different characters we could possibly see costumes. And whether or not this adds to their attacks, it could definitely change up their stuff, but obviously we're gonna see that the Miis are gonna be announced during E3. So yeah, custom characters are probably gonna have a lot of stuff that are gonna be coming through Soul Calibur, so they're definitely confirmed because of Namco. Then next we have the items.
So the items, now I'm not really sure about this, but there has been no really Namco items to my knowledge that have been announced. Although, if you guys watch my live reaction of the Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures 2 release trailer, there was a ton of new power-ups, which could definitely be implemented into the new game. Kind of like Kirby's powers, where he sucks in people and gets their power. They can incorporate that in some sort of item, I think.
yeah, that they could end up seeing those Pac-Man Ghostly Adventure items, and then there's not really much items. I don't know that we could else see. Maybe like actually no, we could see the Soul Calibur swords, so Soul Calibur and the Soul Edge, and those would definitely probably be ending up to be items, and then a few items, I guess, from Tekken 2. And then other than that, I think that there's not going to be many items from Namco. So yeah, and for the entirety of Namco developing Smash Bros, what do you think about them developing Smash Bros?
I think it's really cool, considering Hudson Soft did Brawl,
and all games before, I think.
yeah, pretty much all games before, and we saw Meta Knight and King DDD as newcomers, which were really cool at the time. Well, they still are, but they're now veterans. Anyway, yeah, we can definitely see a lot of new things in this game, from Namco and obviously Nintendo. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that Namco, having Sakurai going to Namco to develop, I think it's a really good reason for it, and it's probably just because they have some good knowledge of how to make fighting games since they have Soul Calibur and Tekken. So definitely wasn't just a random decision there. And I think that we're gonna see a lot from them, and hopefully they make this game a really good game, and hopefully it's super balanced and not like a really OP for like the characters, but hopefully different enough that they're not just all like skins of each other, because they're just that balanced. And then right before we leave, I'm gonna say that now Namco, of course, developing the game for Smash Bros, I think that Sakurai seems really pleased with working in their building, and they seem to be doing a really good job. And this, could Sakurai end up be doing this to give the Smash Bros series to Namco to develop? Because in that case, Nintendo would save money. They don't have to farm out just like a ton of their money to develop all these games, because they have other games to develop also, especially because Sakurai doesn't like, not that he doesn't like to make sequels, but it's just because they kind of get repetitive over time. So he might end up seeing that for SSB4 be his final game, and SSB5 would be developed by Namco, and he's just gonna be like, they did a great job, and they could like end up just doing it by themselves, because in this Smash Bros he's not really developing it. Namco, Bandai Namco are developing it, and he's kind of just the director who's just saying characters should be balanced and things. So he's definitely giving the majority of the development to Namco. So that could happen, not entirely sure, but possibly.
And yeah, guys, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Smash Podcast. Follow us on Instagram at Smash Podcast. And yeah, SmashCast signing out, guys. Peace.